Today we have part number 3 in our trilogy about EOS. We showed you how the printer works, we showed you standby possibilities, and today we are focused on networking. And I tell you, this is, from my perspective, the really interesting part, and something which you really have to see. By the way, our problem is we have no idea who's listening to this. So we don't know your background, we don't know your knowledge about networking. We try to find a way so that everybody should be happy. Let's have a closer look right now. So first of all, we start with our network connection. Plug it in here in the printer, and the other end is normally connected to a network switch. In our case, we want to connect it directly to the PC, so we can create a one-to-one connection between the printer and the PC. Another possibility is to use wireless network. Here we use this USB stick, plug it in here in the USB port, and the hardware settings are okay. The cable is connected now from the PC to the EOS, and now we have to do the settings for networking. We look to the control panel, we go to the network sharing center, and we change the adapter settings. So we go to the LAN connection, click on properties, select Internet Protocol version 4, TCP/IP v4, go to properties, and usually your PC is preset to obtain address automatically. So this is empty, and normally the DHCP server gives you an IP address. In our case, we need a fixed IP address, so therefore we key it in here. I just cancel it. It's preset here. What I used is this 192.168.0.30. And automatically the subnet mask 255.255.255.0 appears. And so my PC has now this IP address. That's okay. And we have to do also something on the printer itself. Go in here, go to the setup, go to interfaces, click on network, Ethernet. DHCP is switched off, and the IP address is also something which I preset before. I keyed in 192.168.0.22, so the printer has its own IP address. That's okay so far. Subnet mask is automatically 255 3 times and the 0. And so everything is done here. We can go ahead. Now we can start the browser. And in the line where you usually key in the name of a website, we key in http://192.168.0.22. The HTTP is suppressed here. We are connected directly now to EOS. And what we can see here, we get an overview about the printer, and we also see the display directly here. The nice part here is that we can click here on the feed button. Now the printer requests for the username and password. In the beginning, if you did not change this, it's admin 2 times. So we press OK, and then we can use this display here in the same way as if it would be directly on the printer. If you press the feed button here, it does the same. This is very, very helpful if you have to do some support. Yeah, what's up?
Hi. Listen, I'd like to print the label that's on the USB stick, but the article number is overlaid by the barcode. Can you come over and have a look on it? I'm not getting very far with it.
Oh, I'm so busy at the moment. Really, I have no time to look to your printer. It's too far away. I think it's raining outside. No, I'm busy. But wait. We can do a remote session, and so I will go directly on your printer, remote access, and all I need is the IP address of your printer. So we'll find it if you go to short status and tell me the IP address. Just wait a second.
Okay, it's 192.168.022.
Okay, got it? Yeah. I will call you as soon as I fix it, okay?
Thanks, bye.
Bye-bye. Such busy days. By the way, you know you can directly access the printer from your web browser. This is what we showed. And there's another really nice function which is really helpful in this situation. There's a possibility that I can directly show the label on screen which had been printed by my colleague. That's what we are doing right now. If I key in the address, here we are. So what you need is the IP address of the printer, which was 192.168.022/CGI-bin/bitmap. I'm sure you can't remember, but later on you may look again to this and make some notes. So that's the address which you need to get the label directly on screen. And what we can see here is it's correct what my colleague told. We have the barcode which is absolutely on the wrong position. It seems that we just have to move the barcode 20 millimeters down, so that's roughly 1 inch, and then everything should be fine. We have different possibilities to do that. So we can use FTP connection. There are multiple possibilities to access the printer by FTP. So the one possibility is to key it in here in the command line, FTP : // then we have to key in the login. FTP card is the login to access the memory card, or in this case the USB stick. Followed by the password, which is card, and followed by the @ 192.168.0.22, and then a window will open and shows us the folders of the printer. There are easier possibilities. I cancel that. There are easier possibilities. For example, there's one tool, I think I mentioned this before, which is called Notepad++. With Notepad++, we also have the possibility to use this FTP connection to the printer. I disconnect it here, reconnect again. I set it up for EOS card, so we log in with the name FTP card and with the password card. Click on this. So we see all the folders. The labels are located here. You can open this from here. It's just open on screen. And we see here we have the barcode. Okay, that requires now some knowledge about JavaScript programming. And by the way, it's also possible to change this in the original file in cap label. But what we have to do here, these two values, this is the value where the printhead starts from the left side and here from the top. So we are 20 millimeters from the top, and we expect we have to move it down by another 20 millimeters. That's what I'm doing right now. So this is 40. I save that. Then it's directly saved in the printer and everything should be fixed.
Hi.
Hi there. I think everything should work now, so please print the label and let me know if it works.
Okay, wait, let's have a look on it. Awesome. Thank you very much. That's perfect.
Wow, great. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So easy to make girls happy. But I want to control if everything is okay. So therefore, we check it here on the screen again. We go back to our label before, do a refresh, and oops, okay, now it looks fine. So this is what the printer printed as last label, and you can see the position is okay, the label looks nice, all set. Maybe you know this or similar situation by yourself or recognize this by yourself. So what happened? One person needs some help, other person has the possibility to help. So IT guys, now it's up to you. You have the tools, we gave the tools to your hands. Use it, do an access from the distance to the printer and help the people. They would not wait for 2 hours or 5 hours or 1 week. They have to finish the work right now. You got it. So what else do we have? We have a couple of really nice features in the web interface, and this is what I want to show you right now. The web interface shows us a couple of more informations. First of all, we have the printer type here, which is a EOS 1 300 dpi resolution. In the second line, we see the firmware version, which is at this time 4.16. I downgraded this just to show you afterwards the firmware update. And we furthermore see the serial number of the mainboard. The operative time was 414 minutes and the number of labels 2,360. All overall, we printed 87 meters in thermal transfer mode and nothing in direct thermal mode. So we have a second line here which says service. It shows you the operative time since the last service, because the service counter can be resetted so that we see how many labels have been printed, how many hours had the printer been powered up, and how many transfer labels have been printed. So in the next area we see a couple of messages. It shows us date and time when the printer was started up, so startup time. And this list will grow over the time if you have a paper out or ribbon out condition, or if the head is open, etc. Whatever is shown in the display is listed here so that you get a real good overview what happened with the printer until it is switched off, and then the list will be rebuilt again. And by the way, can you imagine, the printer is not directly here, it is away from here. So in this case, our remote possibilities, they are not really helpful because I can touch the screen directly here. But if it is far away, it makes more sense. We get more information here if we go to the setup button here. Printer loads all the setup information, and first of all, we see the locale settings. Printer is set up to English, and it offers here a real big bunch of languages so that you have a good chance to find your language here in the list. And step by step we add additional languages. And it's separated now between language and country. So it might be possible language is English but country is South Africa or England or USA. So different settings for the keyboard which is attached, or for the date and time if it is printed. Then we have the time zone. There are 3 possibilities. It's time zone. Sorry, it's the time area where you are. Greenwich is 0, so here Berlin and Paris is Germany, and depending where you are living, so you can set up your different time zone. Daylight saving, this is what I'm meaning. Daylight saving is different. Here we have different settings for European daylight saving time and for American daylight saving time. And by the way, for example, in Russia, they switched off to no daylight saving. Date and time settings, well, nothing to explain. And also the other parameters and other setup possibilities, this is worth for one separate webinar. So it's just here to show you what we can do. I don't want to go to the detail right now. I pick up a few items. I scroll down here. So once the printer is connected to the network, we have a couple of settings here. There's the Ethernet setting. We can select if DHCP is switched off or on. Here we have off selected. The IP address is displayed, which we keyed in before in the printer, 192.168.0.22. And the subnet mask is also shown here. Then we are asked for the gateway address, for the gateway if it is switched on or off, and for the gateway address. In this case, keyed in 192.168.0.10. That would be required if the printer is connected to a router and might be controlled by some other PC from the network. Host name, there you have the possibility to change the host name for the printer. And it shows you the raw IP port, 9100, LPD protocol switched on or off, SNMP, etc., etc. So again, this is something where we should spend a little more time to look into the detail. For example, time service switched on or off, and then we have the time server so that we can prepare the printer for the exact time which is picked up from the network. Let's go to the next button, the interpreters. Here we have the possibility to select which language is used to print on the printer. Usually we use JavaScript, which is the programming language for CAP printers. You saw that before when we modified something on the PC of my colleague, or on the printer of my colleague. And it is JavaScript and with the extension LBL. But we also can use CPL files. CPL is another programming language for other printer types. And here we have the possibility to select the interface from where we receive this kind of data. So I set up USB, and now I can load data from CPL or from JavaScript, both from the USB stick, and print them. Notifications. We have a huge list of information and notifications, and you can modify this for your needs. So first of all, there are some events like warning, startup, if the printer is offline, low ribbon, clean printhead, etc., etc. So we have a really big list of events which might happen. And we have the possibility to get some data by SNMP, which we can set up here, or by email, which can be set up here, so that we configure an email address where you get information when the printer is started up, or when the printer is out of ribbon, or if it is needs cleaning of the printhead. And we can add also some sound. Here we have at startup, we have the rooster. Sounds like this here. It's a nice wake-up call if you are starting the printer in the morning. Now you should be awake. So there are a couple of different tones, and it's nice and helpful if you run out of ribbon, run out of paper. So it's helpful to have some additional sound, not only the red display which shows you this visual, you also have some audible effects which you can use. Devices is the next button here. The device list is very similar to to the device list which you can print in the test mode here. So it shows you the name of the CPU, which has the code name Espresso, the number of the CPU, which is unique on each board. We see the PCB revision. We get information about the thermal printhead, etc. And we also get information about the attached units which are connected to the USB interfaces, for example. In the font area, we see all the fonts which are available in the printer. First of all, we have 5 different bitmap fonts, and additionally we have 5 two-type fonts. So starting with the Swiss 721, which is very similar to Arial or Helvetica. and also Swiss 721 Bold, which is also very similar to the Bold version of Arial. Monospace is a kind of font which is using the same size for all characters, so that's perfect if you want to print a table or so. And then we added the AR Haiti medium, which is the Chinese language, Chinese character set, so that it is also possible to print Chinese characters with this printer. Maybe you need to be Chinese to type it in, but the printer itself has the possibility to handle this. So with Garuda, we also added the Thai language, and it's another font which can be used for different labels. The last part in this area is the help button. And here we have the possibility to transmit the status report. So it creates this report, and this can be uploaded to CAP so that we de-encrypt it and we get the information about the fonts, the devices, and the printer settings. So if this is required, our tech support will ask you. And something very helpful is we can check for updates. So therefore I reduced the version of the EOS firmware to 4.16. So we see there's a new firmware available. It's 4.22 from October 28, 2015. And I have two possibilities, either to close that or to update my printer. So I select update. What happens now is that the PC downloads the new release of firmware from our website and copies it to the printer and installs the new firmware. It takes a while, but by the way, that's a very helpful tool just to keep your printer always very updated. So now the firmware is transmitted to the printer. Printer does the update. Takes also a couple of seconds or one and a half minutes. And after this, the printer will reboot and will reconnect to my PC so that you have the newest firmware installed. You see, printer restarts now. Have the newest firmware installed. We are up to date, and we can use all the new functions which had been added in the new firmware, or maybe also if there had been some bug fixes. So you see, update is still running. It's also displayed on the display here. We can easily hear that the printer reboots, reconnects to the PC, and everything is okay. So I think that's very easy to do. And again, keep in mind, the printer is not, in the normal case, not directly very close to your PC. It's far away, anywhere in the production or in the warehouse or wherever. Hopefully I could show you a couple of really interesting things how to use EOS in a network. And maybe this is something which you did not see before or could not read in some brochures or manuals. By the way, I think it's helpful for everybody, for the IT guy, for the guy who has to work with the printers. So it's a win-win situation for everybody. 2 points. I showed a little programming, but I think it's not the right time to go into the details of programming or direct programming of printers. This will be shown in a separate session. And the second point is, I picked up a couple of things which are interesting in the setup and for the networking. So setup, settings, setup possibilities will also be shown in a separate session. Thanks for listening.